I took some valuable lessons away from that, and I want to share them with you in this episode. So, lesson one is people work harder for people they love. And here's what I saw over those days. Our team showed up every day for us. They wanted to take us to places. We played pickleball. We worked out of coffee shops and cafes. We weren't allowed to catch grabs anywhere. They were picking us up. They were dropping us off. They'd organized family events and traditional experiences for us. And they were part of building the vision for our business as well. They were helping us with problem solving. They were caring about the quality. And we weren't just voices over the video anymore. We were actual humans who had valued them enough to get on a plane and meet them in person and want to learn more about their culture and who they are, what their dreams are, what their goals are, what their visions are. Hey there, and welcome to the Property Management Podcast. Thank you so much for having me in your ears. Now, I recently got back from the Philippines, and I need to tell you all about it because it's connected to something that I started at 8 to 10 years ago in my business, and it changed everything about how I do business. 8 years ago, I was running my real estate agency, and like I've shared before, I was drowning. Not in deals, not in clients, but in tasks and in admin and all the stuff that was keeping me and my team away from actually doing the work that really mattered in my business. And I had this realization that every minute my team spent on data entry, on scheduling, on the back end admin, that was a minute that they weren't on the phone with a client, they weren't building relationships, or they weren't closing deals. So I made a decision that I was going to hire offshore team members, and I'm going to get people to handle the back end so that my team can focus on what they're actually good at: lead generation, client experience, building relationships. And I want to be honest, I had no idea what I was walking into. But what happened was revolutionary. After I'd lost 4 property managers in the process, but that's a story for another podcast episode. The first thing I noticed, suddenly there was structure, real documented processes and systems that were actually working. There was a reduction in the chaos, and it also stopped everyone doing things their own way. There was uniformity. Everybody was doing it the same way, and that brought a lot of clarity. The second thing that it brought was transparency. When you have an offshore team, you have documented, or you should be documenting everything, and you can't hide. You can't assume. You have to write down how things work. And that meant that I could see my business for the first time. I could see the bottlenecks, I could see where things were breaking down, and I could actually manage it. But the thing that surprised me the most was my onshore team got happier. My property managers weren't drowning anymore. They weren't just juggling 15 million things at once. The offshore team was handling the back end, the data entry, the admin, the repetitive tasks, and suddenly my team could just do the work. They were on the phones with clients. They were handling big issues instead of putting them off because they were too buried in other things. And they were present, they were relaxed, they were actually enjoying their jobs. And I realized this is what I wanted all along. Not just a more efficient business, but a better business, one where people could actually do the work they were hired to do, and one where people really wanted to come and work with me. Fast forward to when I sold that agency. I kept thinking about all the property managers that I'd worked with over the years, and I kept hearing the same thing. I'm drowning. My team is drowning. I don't have time to build relationships with my clients because I'm stuck doing all the admin. And I thought, what if everyone else could experience what I experienced? What if every property manager could have that same structure, that streamlined business? What if your team could feel relaxed and present instead of buried? And what if you could have that transparency, that freedom, and that clarity? So we created something to help with that, and we call it our Done For You Taskers. And let me be clear on what that is and what it isn't. It's not another virtual assistant company where you hire a random person offshore and hope for the best. That's not what we do. We build a team of trained professionals who work with you on specific areas where you're struggling or where you shouldn't be spending your time. Of course, all your property management admin, but also your social media, your video editing, and your lead generation prep work. But here's what makes it different. We don't just hand you a worker. We build the systems for you. We create the processes. We document them. We train them and train your team and our tasker in your business. They know your brand. They know how you work. We troubleshoot when things go wrong. We use our initiative. We don't just do what we've been told to do. We think about how can we actually help you scale, automate, use AI to make your life or your team's life easier. We're a premium service and we're definitely not the cheapest option, but we're also not treating you like a transaction. And when I tell you this is making an impact, I mean it's actually changing how people run their businesses. Property managers are getting their time back, real time, not just, oh, I saved an hour, but genuine breathing room to focus on strategy, on clients, on actually building what they want to build. Teams are happier because they're not drowning. Business owners are sleeping better because there's actually clarity and systems in place. And of course, there's that transparency in place as well. No one's hiding things anymore. And it's the one thing that we've done or that I have done that I can say that it is genuinely making a tangible difference in the industry. And I've tried a lot of things to make a difference, but this is the thing that's making the difference. So when we decided to go and meet our team in person and we wanted to recruit new team members as well, that crew that's been part of building this, the one who understands the vision, who care about the quality of the service we deliver, I wasn't sure what to expect when we met them in the person. This episode is proudly supported by ALO. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've probably noticed what I've noticed. The property managers doing the most interesting work right now keep mentioning the same platform. And I saw it close up at the Harcourt Solutions study tour in Brisbane. The way teams talk about their day has changed. And if you want to hear it for yourself, ALO hosts after-hours intimate events at Mecca stores across Australia, where you can listen to property managers share their own story. So book a demo at alo.io, that's AILO.io, and ALO will send you a Mecca gift card to say thanks. And we met them at our hotel. A couple of them we met at our hotel the night we arrived. We arrived at 11 o'clock at night, and two of them, our longest team members, arrived. And these were faces that we've only known from our Zoom calls. And they ran up to us. They had flowers and gifts. There was tears in all of our eyes. And it was just biggest hugs. It was absolutely beautiful. It was like we were family, that we long lost family, and we were finally reconnecting. We weren't bosses that they worked for. And Bella, my business partner, looked at me and our hearts were just so full and we were just full of love, and we could feel the genuine care that our team had for us and us for them as well. And that's when I realized that we hadn't just built a business, we'd built something that mattered to other people as well. And spending a week in the Philippines with our team and recruiting new team members, I took some valuable lessons away from that, and I want to share them with you in this episode. So lesson one is people work harder for people they love. And here's what I saw over those days. Our team showed up every day for us. They wanted to take us to places. We played pickleball. We worked out of coffee shops and cafes. We weren't allowed to catch grabs anywhere. They were picking us up. They were dropping us off. They'd organised family events and traditional experiences for us. And they were part of building the vision for our business as well. They were helping us with problem solving. They were caring about the quality. And we weren't just voices over the video anymore. We were actual humans who had valued them enough to get on a plane and meet them in person and want to learn more about their culture and who they are, what their dreams are, what their goals are, what their visions are. And I thought about my property managers back in my business, and you're building teams to local and offshore. And the difference between someone who clocks in and does the minimum and someone who genuinely cares about what they're building, it comes down to one thing. Do they feel valued as a person? It's not about the money, it's not about the benefits, it's about being seen. And I know that my team felt very seen and they show up differently now. And I think that's really important. And I think if you've got people that are there just for the transaction and just for the money, then maybe you need to reflect on whether they are the right people for your team or not. Lesson 2, I learned efficiency isn't the same as excellence. So I watched them work while we were there. That was, even though we were taking up a lot of their time, they were still doing their client work as well. And I noticed something. They weren't rushing. They weren't trying to do more in less time. They were doing things carefully. The video editing team would check in if they weren't sure about something. The taskers working on portfolios would walk us through their thinking when they got a new task on that they hadn't practiced a lot. And they were taking the time to really work things out and make sure that we understood their reasoning why they were making those decisions. And in my head, I was thinking, this takes longer. And I am like somebody who rushes through my work and deals with mistakes later. But I realized it actually saves time because there's no rework, there's no miscommunication, there's no you built the wrong thing, you did the wrong thing. We're so obsessed with speed in this industry. Get it done, move on to the next thing. But my team taught me that slowing down to do things right actually moves you forward faster. And this is exactly why our tasker model is premium, because we're not trying to be the cheapest solution. We're trying to be the right option. We build systems, we train, we care about the outcome, not just speed. And lesson 3, you can't scale by cloning yourself. And here's the thing that hit me the hardest. I have a business now that doesn't depend on me being in every decision. I have a lead generation team being built out. I have an entire AI and automation team that's implementing solutions that I didn't personally design. And I have a video editing team that understands our brand or your brand, your voice, your vision, without me having to direct every single edit. And that only happened because I invested in people, not just in bodies. And it made me think about the property managers that I've worked with. You're drowning because you're trying to be everything, the manager, the marketer, the closer, the admin person, the strategist, but you can't scale that way, which is why we built our tasker service the way we did. Because I realized you don't need another full-time employee. You need support for specific things in your business. The social media that is taking up mental space, the video editing for your content, the admin that is suffocating you, or the lead generation prep work that takes hours and that you know you shouldn't be doing, but aren't delegating it to someone else. My offshore team showed me that what becomes possible when you're not trying to do everything yourself. Lesson 4, systems and transparency build trust. So when I started using Offshore, the best thing that happened was being forced to build systems. You can't just have assumptions when you're working across time zones and languages. You have to have things documented. You have to create processes that work. And suddenly I could see my entire business. I could see where things were broken. I could see what was working, and I had full transparency. And that's what we bring to our tasker clients. It's not just here, have a worker. It's here, have a system. Here's how we work. Here's how we communicate. Here's how we troubleshoot. And here's how we're going to scale together. Because that is what a real partnership is all about. The ultimate in transparency. Lesson 5, the work changes when people understand the why. Now, my team isn't just editing videos or implementing AI tools, they're building something with me. They're part of a vision. The video editing team, and I keep using them as an example, but we're trying to reach busy property managers or busy real estate agents with real, honest content. Our automation and property management taskers, they understand we're trying to take things off people's plates, not add complexity. And the lead generation team, they know that we're helping property managers actually grow their businesses, create more income in their businesses. And that clarity changes everything because they're not just executing tasks, they're building towards something that they believe in and that they can support their clients in. And it made me ask, are my business owners clear on their why? Do their teams know what they're actually building toward? Because that's what transforms work from a job into something that actually matters. So when I came back to Australia, and I've been sitting here with all of these lessons for a while now, we've been back about a month now, and thinking about what our offshore team taught me. And it's not just about business systems or scaling strategies. It's about what you're building and who you're building it with. It's about slowing down enough to do things right. It's about investing in people so much that they want to run towards you when you finally meet in person. It's about clarity on the vision. It's about trying to do everything. It's not about trying to do everything yourself. It's about building something structured, streamlined, so your team can actually work, not just survive. It's about clarity on the vision. It's about not trying to do everything yourself. It's about building something structured and streamlined so your team can actually work, not just survive. And that's the foundation. The business stuff, the growth, the sustainability, all of that will follow. And it's made me want to bring more of that into everything we do in our business. More care, more clarity, more investment in people, less hustle, less doing it yourself. And I've lived it. Believe me, 8 years ago, I was drowning. But then I got structured, I got support, I got my team back, a happier team back. And I started to really enjoy my business for the first time ever. And now we're helping other people experience the same thing. And that's what builds a business that's going to last. And if you're ready to do that in your business, to build something structured and streamlined, to get real support where you actually need it, then please reach out to me. I would love to have a chat about how our tasker team might be able to support your business. As always, thank you so much for being here. Can I ask you a quick favor before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate, and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow, or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.